Let's get more perspective on all of this, the Steve Bannon departure from a man who's worked up close with the Trump team. David Bossie served as Mr. Trump's deputy campaign manager. David, thanks for being here. Your take on, as we're breaking this down, what this means for this White House.
Well, I think that the president has come to count on Steve Bannon in many ways over the last year plus that Steve's been part of that orbit. Steve does get a bad rap, and I think what John was talking about is accurate. If you look at the campaign, just as one example, as an anecdotal evidence, is that Steve Bannon came onto a campaign that was incredibly in upheaval the second time with Paul Manafort leaving the campaign. It was very disorganized. Steve came in and organized that campaign and righted the ship. It was President Trump's campaign. President Trump is the candidate, but Steve was able to put an organization together that helped to get it across the finish line. So I think that there's a lot of people pointing fingers about chaos, but I don't know if Steve is 100% responsible.
Well, if you look at this White House and you talk about upheaval, and we'll put on the screen the firings or resignations since President Trump has been in office, I mean, it's quite stunning to see them all on one page. And you see all of these folks, the Chief of Staff, National Security Advisor, we're not even getting into the FBI Director who was fired, third Communications Director, second White House Press Secretary. This is all from the time he took office until today. That is an administration in flux.
It is. Steve Bannon leaving is not going to change that, what's gone on in the past. Steve, when he leaves, and I think, again, it is not going to be that he is going to be at war at all with the president. He is 100% committed. I've talked to Steve today several times. He is 100% committed. He is. He's in excellent spirits, and he is 100% committed to making sure that President Trump's agenda, the agenda for the American people, succeeds. And that's what he is going to be now on the outside. A different place. And to be honest with you, you look at Corey Lewandowski and myself, for instance, we have just a terrific opportunity now with Steve as part of our operation to try and help from the outside. And not everything can happen from the inside. It's good to have folks like us on the outside.
I get that, Dave, but wasn't his role, or one of his roles, to be a disruptor, to be the elitists are not going to win, to be break up the establishment? And isn't their fight really also inside this White House with the Gary Cohns, the Dina Powells, the Jared, the Ivankas, the concern that the Trump conservative, if you want to call him that, is leaving the White House? Here is a quote from Kristen Tate. She's a columnist, and she says, if Bannon goes, so do Trump's biggest ties to his own base. So long to innovative policy ideas, goodbye to credible outreach to blue-collar factory workers and miners, au revoir to President Trump's political capital. Once Bannon goes, there's no going back. The American working class backed Donald Trump in record numbers for a reason. Bannon's views on trade, immigration, taxes, foreign policy crafted the Trump campaign's most successful moments. Bannon is more than the idea guy. He's perhaps the one person indispensable to Trump's goals aside from the president himself. Your take?
I think she is right on point with a lot of that. It's Steve Bannon leaving the White House does not necessarily stop him from helping the president fulfill that agenda. And actually, Steve's position is, with me today, is that it's now easier for him to do the things, to participate in a way that he's not handcuffed like he was inside the White House. Being on the outside, there's a lot of freedom, and you have a lot more weapons at your disposal than when you're handcuffed inside the White House.
But is he going to be trying to take out, not war with the president, but war with maybe some of those globalist, as he calls them, or elitist or establishment feelings that some of the other people inside the White House he has charged have?
Yeah, I mean,
this is his view.
I understand what you're saying, and I think that there is going to continue to be from Steve Bannon's point of view, pointing out to the media, to the American people, and to the president that here are the agenda items that got you elected, and here's what you promised the American people, just the whiteboard you're talking about, the list of promises that you made during the campaign, and here's how we need to fulfill them. Some of the people inside of your administration weren't with you during the campaign, and they don't agree with you on these policy positions now. And I think that that's going to continue, that he's going to continue to point those things out when it's necessary, because he's always been the voice that has had to rise up to be able to stop certain things from happening.
All right, last thing. Yeah. This has been a while in the making, do you believe? I mean, it was not a result out of Charlottesville, Brett, or anything else? No, Brett, I think that you've seen the writing on the wall for quite some time. Even when Ryan Priebus left a few weeks ago, it was talk then, was Bannon in or out. This has been going on. I think General Kelly now has come in, really tried to I think, make the White House his own, and that's what he's doing. Okay. Dave Bossie, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.